Bring it in. Bring it in. Bring it in. Stop! Wait. Push it back. Push it back. And we're good. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Harness Players Podcast. Just trying to get some renovations done here inside of the old stew, just so we can try and make this show a little bit better for all of you viewers wherever you are. And we know that you are absolutely anywhere. One of the many reasons why we have to renovate beyond innovate, which we can't help but do, is so that we can try and include more than just myself on this show. And thanks to my efforts, I can, boys, you ready? You ready? Okay. Bring him in. Bring him in. Bring him in. There he is. Okay, we can finally fit Mike Pribozie on the screen. Whoever was last here in the studio, they messed everything up. And so I've been here for about, a day and a half, Mike, trying to
Why are you so high in this chair? I feel like you're way over. You're really high.
Let me get more on your level. Okay.
There you go. There we go.
Yes. For all of the brain power I have.
Where's all the hair?
I need the extra headspace too. I need to let everyone know, Mike, as we're recording this show, but then for the viewers at least, if you're a listener, please indulge the old mind theater as we used to do in the days of FDR. I have a trove of beverages. Here is a beverage. I have this as a beverage. I have this as a beverage. And all through the show, I will be taking intermittent sips of each beverage because each one provides me a different power, all used to make me one of the greatest harness racing handicappers in the world. And Mike here is, he's here with me specifically to vouch that there's also medical backing for my conjecture, for my hypothesis. I'm right, aren't I?
You're maybe top 10 probably. Top 10. I don't know about greatest, but top 10.
Who's better than me?
I'll go with that. I don't know, me probably.
There's you? One.
Yeah.
No, okay. So? Just because you're on this show, don't make you better than me. All right. I've learned from all of the greats. It's when you are the host, then you have to get people who are not like just a little nudge below your level. And hey, no, put me back! Put me back! Put me back!
Look,
put me back where I belong.
You just got downgraded.
No. I am reclaiming my rightful spot. As a matter of fact, I'm getting back on my own level here. We are here, Mike, to talk about Fraser harness racing, among some other things. You'll keep an eye out on the In the Money YouTube channel if that's how you're watching. If you're listening, we encourage you to go to the In the Money YouTube channel. And as PTF keeps telling me to do, remind you to subscribe to this channel so that way you can get more harness racing content. Of course, there's so much thoroughbred content ahead of the Kentucky Derby.
Oh my!
I'm a Hambletonian guy, so like it makes my skin kind of pop trying to say those two words. But plenty of content for any horse racing fan here on the In the Money YouTube page. And the more people who subscribe, the more we will be able to make it. Because at a certain point, Mike, if people don't show up, they're going to take us out back to the coop. And I don't want to know what's going to happen at that point. Interesting pick 4, though. Last week, I'm trying to remember correctly how it unfolded. Was it chalk? Was it all chalk last week? It was a tricky one.
It was a lot of favorites, but it paid okay. I mean, we gave it to you if you watched it. If you watched it here, but we came up with, well, at least I did, came up with all 4 winners, and it paid all right. I think it was like 50. It was about 50. I could look for the exact number.
Yeah, $55 for a buck. I pushed it out of my brain because I was so against Billy Buxton, and of course he won. I did not like West Coast Beach. He won. I did not like Buddyville. And Buddyville won.
There, look. See, there you
go.
Hey,
whoa, no! I'm gonna earn my spot back. You don't get it that quickly. You can stay there for now. We're going to look again at Fraser Downs for their pick 4 sequence. It starts in race 6. We're going to look at Friday specifically, that being April 11th, the year currently 2025. Sometimes it feels like it's not 2025, but that's for other professionals in my life to help me with. Race 6 opens the pick 4 sequence, and we're hopping right into the hole, Mike, with the open pace featured event, $10,000 purse. You and I were kind of talking about this race before coming on air. You don't seem to be so confident that it'll be fine. We'll be able to rebound off that loss last week.
No, I'm pitching them again, and I do think that when you lose a couple length lead in the stretch, come home 30-2 when you're supposed to be the best horse on the grounds, and you're typically have been closing in 28-2, 28-1 to win. Now he did have an outside post there. He is going to take money here, and he's a tough horse. But I want others right now, and I hope that that this sort of him being off form continues. I'll do West Coast Beach again. I liked that one last week. I do think we'll be forward. I think the confidence will be high. And, had broken equipment 2 back, ended up second, was able to win last week. The barn's 35%, and it seems like getting better every week. She has another one in there, and with the 1, and now you get Brandon Campbell back on that one with an inside post. That one's had tough trips recently. I do think with Campbell on, this horse should be better. It was just very close to it'll be fine back in March, on March 14th. So I do think that one will be improved, I think, as a use for me. And then as a price, maybe the 6 Outlaw See My Shadow. A closer, was able to win at an upper level back on March 28th. Now, these usually probably this level seems tough for this horse, but I do think that this horse is in much better form this year. And the off the pace move could certainly suit given the speed in here, especially the speed of the 1. The 4 left last time. The 5's going to be involved early. I do like this horse's kick recently. I like the fact that is able to kind of compete at this level, is going to be ignored on the board, and should kick off this pick 4. 2 weeks ago, there were several prices that made it explode. I wouldn't be surprised if this horse, especially with a big duel up front, could maybe trip out and beat these horses. So 156 will kick. It'll be fine out for another week.
Oh, that's interesting. Outlaw See My Shadow, because you and I were also kind of talking about what do we do with Buddyville in this spot, because week to week he seemed like he's been on the cusp of regaining that form that won him, provincial stakes here at Fraser Downs, and for some reason last time he was just able to connect all the pieces, and he didn't even need for the tempo to collapse. Like, sure, it was a 57-1 back half, but we haven't seen that many horses really close that much ground over the track unless they're really crawling to the line. How do you assess him?
Well, it's a step up for him. Scott Knight back in the bike. And I do think that he was momentum last. He would really have to fly to beat these horses in here stepping up. So I think he could trip out. He would be a horse that I'd be interested in maybe for underneath spots. But to win from the 8 hole here, it's going to have to pass a lot of them. Just not for me, not from this post.
I have a hard time seeing how this race maps because, Canic has 2 of the main contenders, as you mentioned, Zilla Katzen from post 1, West Coast Beach from post 5. Time and time again, it seems like West Coast Beach performs much better if he can sit that pocket trip. And so with Zilla Katzen at the pylon post, part of you does wonder, does Campbell go forward with that guy and then West Coast Beach can secure the 2 hole? It's not going to be that simple, though, because It'll Be Fine is sandwiched between them. And Hudon's got to go as well. So there's a part of me that is feeling the way that they line up going to the quarter. Hudon is the last one to the lead. I don't think West Coast Beach would quarter move, even if he gets left back in 3rd. Zilla Katzen, I think, would want to sit the pocket just because of how his last few trips have been going against the upper class. He's trying to find his footing at the top level. So on one hand, maybe we get a better price on It'll Be Fine because he lost last time. I think it's still kind of a pipe dream in some sense because everyone knows still how good of a horse he is against this bunch. And I think a lot of people will also write off that loss as being post-hampered. He had to really get used hard from all the way out there. They went like 26 and change to the first quarter. Sure, he was able to slow things down, but having missed a week, he was only short 2 lengths, all things considered, inside of that. So I'm not afraid to hop back onto the wagon I feel like it'll be fine. He still holds the throne at this level, and I don't feel West Coast Beach is really going to provide ample value to warrant me spreading in this spot. And Zilla Katzen especially, he still has so much to prove, and he's going to take that heat, or the betting heat, I should say, just given the Canucks 35%. A lot of people most likely will just be betting a stable in form on a guy like him. So it might not necessarily be the worst single in the world, to me at least.
Okay.
I made my case. Put me back on the left. Thank you. Like number 2 is race 7. We go straight from the open pace, top class on the grounds, to good old fashioned 5 claimers. Some 10 claimers if, they feel a little special about themselves. And Mike, we have a strong morning line favorite by the looks of it, debatably. 9-5, nonetheless. You don't really see that too often in a lot of races. Airline Pilot, again, another one from the Rebecca Canick stable. Do we really give this one that much respect?
Well, it's a drop. Campbell's back. That's a huge thing for this horse. So you said you were against him. I'm not sure why. I just think that this is an 8 claimer that's going back to the 5 claiming level that gets the top connections on the grounds. I don't know that you want to spend a lot of money trying to beat this horse. If you're looking for a price, I think the 2 Chase Me Forever is interesting. Tough trip last time. Does get a driver's switch. You get an inside post, but has over 2 years. Really difficult to lean on that one here. Just hasn't won in such a long time. So the price may not be what you want it there. That would be probably more for an underneath kind of spot. The 4 Chucky Farley won the last time Kelly O'Hort was in the bike. And that was back on February the 27th, was claimed out of that race. Then, had some trouble, won again on March 14th, but hasn't since. Now, the driver switch could suit. Not sure about this trainer. It's just 0 for 1 starts. So we'll see. I'm not sure what's going on there. But if you're looking for alternatives to the favorite, maybe the 2 and the 4, I probably would be heavy 5, maybe on a backup of 2, maybe a little 2-4 there. But 5 is going to be tough.
I mean, sure, he's making a subtle drop in class. He's coming back to the 5 claimers instead of those 8 claimers. And he was able to win at the 8 claiming level too. He was able to close ground while the tempo wasn't necessarily collapsing. I see some of the appeals, but no matter what, he's going to be a chalk that's going to be behind the ball early. And thinking back to when he debuted here, we weren't even that thrilled using him in that sequence. We just recognized he had a great draw. He at least had some speed. He was going to be able to get into the right spot to just do the work and win the race. And granted, he did that, but all that to say, I don't really think he's really deserving of being that strong of a favorite inside of this race. He's shown some good stuff from off a helmet and things, which maybe level him up in my mind a bit, but I still feel like he's going to be pace compromised. Sure, this is Fraser, but I'm coming off of a few weeks at Oak Grove where I've been seeing just how trip dependent sometimes a lot of these horses can be. If someone on the lead's able to get like a 30-second breather, Airline Pilot might be good enough to claw into the action late, but it could be 1 or 2 lengths. He could be 1 or 2 lengths too far back, and that could be a 2nd place finish. That could be a 3rd place finish, and you have a lot to gain, in my mind, trying to beat him out of this race, just given his stature as a morning line favorite. He's not lukewarm. He's 9-5. He is solidified, or cemented, I should say, as a fairly strong factor through this whole sequence. So a lot of tickets most likely are going to go through him, given the connections as well. I'm interested in the 3, whose name I don't remember. I got to scroll up. Son of a Beach. That's his name. He's a 3 horse. Malloy can leave with this guy. He finally gets a good draw, makes a big drop in class, escapes a really tough horse into Huya Devil, who's just been able to go pillar to post every single week. I feel like that might have influenced the way that this horse is tripped out in some of his starts. And specifically two-back, I like, based on where he landed, how he was trying to gain position late. So sure, he was best of the rest inside of that situation, but I feel like this is a weaker group. Airline Pilot, he might have the merit to just walk over this field, power over the top, whatever. But if Malloy can get to the front and he can work fairly sensible fractions, he may be able to force the favorite to chase him home. And again, it comes down to just what kind of allowance do you build in between that half mile and the finish line. Ball could be in his court. He's 3-1, so he's still one of the chalks because of the class drop, but I'm going to try singling him. That's definitely going to give some value to the ticket if he can come through. I can't spread while using Airline Pilot. I feel like he's just too much of a liability.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're taking the second choice here and a horse that's won for his last 15 and 4 for 45 lifetime that was racing in numbers of 2 just as early as in February. So, and I do think that, there's not going to be a ton of value with this horse. I mean, I guess beating Airline Pilot gives you value, but I mean, it's not like that you're singling, the 2, for instance, where you have a horse that's going to be a big separator. I think there are going to be plenty of 3s on tickets there in that race. So I'm against him. He's going to have to beat me. That 4 for 45. And, I mean, some of these horses won more races last year than this horse has won in his lifetime. So I'm whatever. We'll see.
I feel like he's a bit different, though, because I one positive, he won on debut. Came back to a class he struggled at, did not struggle at all. He was actually
in a 5-horse race.
So, 5-horse, sure.
5-horse race. He had the rail coming off the bench. I mean, I don't know.
But then he came back with a ground-saving trip, was actually gaining on the leaders late to finish third. He has some merit. He has the potential to show himself. Like, to your point, ultimately this is 20-cent minimum, right, on the pick 4?
It is.
Yeah, so people will be spreading. They will probably be using him. So I agree with you in that sense that it's not the biggest value in the world. But I still feel that you beat most likely a 6-5 even money favorite in Airline Pilot. That's got to go some distance inside of the sequence. If anything, making it go from paying $30 to $60 as an example.
Okay.
The third leg is race number 8. $12,000 condition claimer, $7,500 purse. The problem in this race for me, Mike, and why, again, I'm going fairly slim, is how do we assess that mile by Loaded Dragon? Again, Rebecca Canick. Again, Brandon Campbell. This guy was able to go from the claiming handicap to this condition rank off of just an up-the-track finish to a 53 and change brush and crush. He seems really tough to beat here.
He looks good. He draws well. And he's beat better horses than that. I mean, Hurricane Frigno and now Are You Crazy's back in here. But I think that was a tougher spot than this one. Just racing very well right now with some big off the pace moves, some big, race like early moves to win races. And that's the way Campbell likes to drive. Also, I would expect this horse will do something very similar in this race. The only other horse I could see maybe is Catch Me Oliver, just because he's so sharp and he's raced well so far since returning. 2 wins, 3 seconds. Has shown speed, has shown the ability to come from off of it. This horse could trip out. I think One Tough Beach Boy will take money, but was scratched sick last week versus Similar. That was a drop there. I'm not sure I want him off the 6 scratch, the tough post. He's going to take money. I don't want him. I'd just be 3-4.
I'm just 3 simply because when you're looking at harness races, and sometimes when you're assessing, potentially strong favorites, it's one thing if you go to the lead and you hold the lead and win. It's another if you come from well off the pace to win because, maybe the fractions aided you, whether they were too fast early, slow late, or if they were just slow throughout the entire time. But what's most dangerous to me about Loaded Dragon is that he's winning going first up. He's getting away into wherever position he wants, and he's able to just make his move when he wants. That's something a horse does when they are so much better than anyone else, because so few horses can actually sustain that first over move or not get discouraged by that first over move. That exhibits strength, that exhibits ability, that exhibits class. And when a horse is winning so handily in that way, it becomes harder to imagine what is this horse's obstacle beyond he somehow gets onto a helmet and has a wall of horses locking him in and someone else can get the jump. And that's a situation you can't necessarily handicap. It's also one that I think is unlikely inside of a race like this. Campbell knows he has the best horse. He's driving this horse like he's the best horse most weeks. Two starts back, that might have been a post-compromise type drive, but it's really hard for me to see how anyone steps up to the plate to beat this guy. So I think I'm all in on him in that leg. Nothing but great arguments from me that your ticket might be changing by the end of this.
I don't think so. I mean,
okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, again, this is why I'm on this portion of the screen. Last leg is race number 9. Claimers again, $8,000. We have 8 going postward in this one. A reminder, we never really mentioned the 8 starts in the second tier at Fraser Downs. They could go 8 across, but we want to try and put the 8 a bit more inside of the pylon, so they'll trail whoever they want on the gate inside of this race. I felt that this was tricky. I go slim again because I'm not sold on Dylan James. Though it is possible then that Canick and Campbell could sweep the whole pick 4.
They could. They've done that in the past. You're not high on him. I think that he probably wins. He was claimed for 5 back on March 28th, stepped up to 8 and got beat an inch from a pretty tough spot. Now you get Campbell. You got the perfect post. This horse is another one that can pretty much win from anywhere. Barnes just going too well right now. And there's plenty of speed to chase here. Horses like Shots Fired, Sunset Raider, Bay Street Buddy, all inside, all look to go early. I do think that Dylan James is going to get a setup and he's going to get the jump. He's third back. He's supposed to win this race, and I think that he will. If he doesn't, I mean, it could be a little chaotic. And you know, there's other horses that have some backlines. Like Joe Rich is a horse that's raced for higher than this. He's off form. You know, I thought Shots Fired tripped out last time, was lucky to beat Dylan James. Sunset Raider comes off a break. Now, that was from an outside post. Did win 2 back at this level and certainly could be right there if the horse behaves itself. That would be sort of a backup for me. Maybe the only other horse I could use would be the 3. So I'd be heavy 5, a little 3.
Wow, you don't even like my single inside of this race.
Well,
I'm on Bay Street Buddy inside of this one. Malloy could win too inside of this sequence.
That horse has torched some money though recently. If you look at this horse's odds, 2-1 favorite, third. 8-5 favorite, third, 2-5 favorite back in March 7th, second. I mean, he's torching cash, so feel free.
But I don't know how he doesn't provide some kind of value though against 2-1 morning line favored from Rebecca Canick and Brandon Campbell right next door. That one is probably going to still have a decent amount channeling through him. At the very least, the way that my ticket's mapping, I do think it could feasibly pay $80 to $100 if it comes in this sequence. But the thing specifically, for one, I don't have confidence in many of these horses. Sunset Rider, he can go forward. He might be able to go pillar to post. It's kind of tricky. I feel like Bay Street Buddy is a stronger horse than him. And so if Malloy can overtake Hort to the quarter, then Sunset Rider, he's going to be trying to chase for second. Bay Street Buddy is capable enough of carrying his speed all the way around. Dylan James, my biggest qualm with him, he only got into the mix when the tempo got really slow. And even then, he couldn't win. He got second. And that's kind of been his thing. Even though Buddyville was able to overcome that type of slow grind into contention late to win in his previous start, Dylan James is another horse that is kind of like that. You look down his page, there's only 1 win and then a whole bunch of other performances where he's just kind of lagging behind horses, trying to get into contention. So there's a part of me that feels like he only got into action late because everyone else was stopping. Sure, it was still a fast mile, 54 and change, definitely eye-catching against a group like this, but I feel his fate hinges on everyone else coming to a stop. And as a chalk, I don't want that. I don't want a chalk like that who needs things to set up in his way. Bay Street Buddy, we saw him. He was so much the best on debut here that Campbell just took all the way to last and powered over the top of everybody to win. And then most impressively, he's been trying other ways. He's been trying to race on the lead. He's been trying to come from first up. He had a weird break in stride going first up 3 starts ago, but I thought he carved a pretty hot mile last time. That's the only thing that did him in. You give him 1 breather, he probably is able to hold on against a group like this.
No breathers here.
Well, who do you feasibly think, or who do you think feasibly comes first up inside of this race to mount a serious challenge?
Well, it depends how it shakes. I mean, the 2, 3, and 4 are all going to go. I can see Dylan James being first up because now you get another week of the Canick program. You got Campbell, who's an aggressive driver that likes to launch from, off the pace. And this horse, I do think, will be well meant in this spot. You could get some outside pressure for some of these other ones. Billy Buxton likes to leave. Occasionally the 7 likes to leave. So, what's the 2 going to do in the race? I mean, there's plenty of action to set up this horse's move. So I don't think this horse necessarily has to trip out to win. I do think that he's going to improve. And if he does, he beats these horses.
I guess that's why it comes down to a gambling game at the end of the day. It's your opinion versus my opinion. But before we get to giving out our tickets, as is tradition here on these In the Money videos, we do have a sponsor. All of these videos, of course, you watch the thoroughbred videos, there's typically a sponsor. The sponsor of today's video, my friends, is you. That's right. It's you. Thank you so much for watching these videos.
It's actually Fraser Downs, but okay.
Well, Fraser's included in this because they're watching. They're always watching. But also you, who aren't Fraser Downs, or if your name might happen to be Fraser, including from a really funny show with I was gonna say Kelsey Grammer, and David Hyde Pierce, who recently I just realized looks like the other guy from Wang Chung. This is all stuff that I know Mike has no interest in. But we thank you for watching these videos and, of course, subscribing to In the Money, liking In the Money, sharing In the Money. And as a matter of fact, here, you know what? This is from my personal wallet. Yeah, I'm going to go with this.
Probably all the money he has in the world.
Here you go. I want you to have that as my token of thanks for.
And now you're in the money too.
Exactly. Mike gets it. So, with that all said and done, we thanked our sponsor. We talked about these races. Lastly, Mike, what is your ticket for the Fraser Downs Pick 4 for Friday, April 11th in the year of someone's Lord 2025?
So real quick though, you got full fields for this late pick 4 at Fraser. The handle has been strong on these late on Friday cards. So they had over 300,000 last Friday. You got 9 races this week. I would expect them to go over that. I would be 1-5-6 with the 5, little 2 and 4 backups in that race, the 3-4 with the 5, and then maybe you could back up with the 3 in the last race. So just a couple ideas and some alternatives. We got it last week. Let's try to get it again this week.
I have the uber confident, can't lose, big.
We'll be out after leg 1.
No, be cashing after leg 4. All singles ticket, as ice cold as whatever is inside of this cup, as one of the 3 beverages. I had a hot beverage, cold beverage, lukewarm beverage. Come on. Okay.
That's where you belong with this nonsense.
No one gets my ticket. I've been learning the art of the deal from our president. No one gets my ticket. Okay, I'll give you my ticket. But no, you don't get it. See, this is all part of the art of the deal. I know now you want my ticket. Okay, I'll give you my ticket.
The 4 with the 3.
No, that's not my ticket. That's not my ticket. My ticket is the 4 with the 3 with the Mike. Who'd I have in the third leg?
I think you had Loaded Dragon, the 3.
The 3, yeah, I had the 3. I didn't have the 3. I have the 3, and then who did I have in the last?
And then Bay Street Buddy to finish the 4.
4. Oh, well, I didn't have. I had the 4. I didn't have the 4. So my ticket is 4, 3, 3, 4. And that could be $4 for $4 if you just play it 4 times. Certainly,
if you're gonna play it for more. So I'll give you that.
Yeah, no, that's a ticket you can definitely play for $10. Hell, why not? I gave you a 20.
Low takeout, 15% on these pick 4s at Fraser Downs. Get in Thursdays, Fridays, late nights. 10 o'clock Eastern time, first post.
Race. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
and last week's pool, just over $8,000. So you're playing still into something fairly plump. It's not going to be a Keeneland pool. It's not going to be a Gulfstream pool, but not everything needs to be. Okay. Sometimes you can make your biggest scores in some of the slimmest pools, and that's if you're smart. And we know everyone watching these videos is the type of person that could scoop the pool. So you want to get in. You want to be involved in this Fraser Downs Pick 4. As Mike said, first race post time on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. scheduled first race post time, 11:40 p.m. Eastern to start the late pick 4, which we just talked about here. Don't forget to subscribe to In the Money. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And really, with that $20 I gave you, don't spend it all in one place.